Thank goodness.
Yo.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. Tangent, what's going on, brother?
You can hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you well. What's going on?
Excellent, excellent. What is going on? I want the overall theme of today's show to be positivity. Now seriously, man, I was thinking today a lot about like all the bad shit that's gone down and how everything's played out. And it's like, there's so many examples of what I'm about to say, but I'll just give one example is with the SBF arrest, right? Everyone was screaming, arrest that mofo. Like everyone wanted to do that mob justice shit, have people, have his door kicked in and have him grabbed immediately. But Richard Hart called it, and CoffeeZilla also called it, that giving him that ability where he thought he was free and he's doing interviews and he's running around thinking that he's above the law actually means that now we've got a better chance that he's going to get what's coming to him, like get what everyone wants to be coming to him. So it's like sometimes in the heat of the moment, something that seems bad and people want an immediate fix, it's not actually how the stuff's going to play out for the best in the future. Even the crash itself, right? I was thinking, so obviously I've taken a massive financial hit with all this crypto crashing because I'm irresponsibly exposed to crypto because I believe in it so strongly. But if someone had come to me months ago and said, would you pay effectively your entire net wealth for everyone to take self-custody of crypto seriously and stop trusting all this middleman BS and all of that stuff, I would almost certainly say yes. I would make that sacrifice because one of the big components of why I'm in crypto is to better the world. So if we look at it that way, that the financial hit that some or all of us have taken has resulted in so much positive outcome for people taking key custody seriously. Obviously, that was already a thing within the HEX community, but I'm talking like more broadly throughout the crypto space, which is important that the rest of crypto gets it as well. We're not on the island yet, right? Richard hasn't created Hexaco on the private island. We're still sort of part of the broader crypto space and the broader world. So yeah,
let's dig into it a little bit about what's happened. So just before we like get fully stuck into it, I just want to shout out to the chat. How are you going, guys? Thanks for coming along. We've got a few different topics we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking obviously about the SBF arrest briefly. We're not going to spend too much time on that. We're just going to cover it. We also want to have a chat about this OpenAI stuff that's going down at the moment, and will continue to go down. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. We're going to talk about Jake Lund and his performance on the weekend, a stunning performance to win the WBC Diamond Belt. Has only been held 8 times in the history of that belt. We're going to talk about wallets, crypto wallets. We're also going to have a chat about the Tails operating system, which is a privacy operating system. So we're going to cover a few things today. It might just be you and me, man. And I'm going to have to go pick up.
Bro, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Look,
that list that you just said sounds incredible. And sorry for jumping ahead on my rant. And
no, you're good. I was gonna
sounds like
with
it's in line as well in terms of like those all sound like very positive things to be talking about.
Yeah. Because as I said in our chat the other day, I think that one of the best things that we can do is steer people towards how important it is to self-custody and to do it properly and to use good tools. There are tools out there for you to use. So I think it's important for us to steer people in that direction. We think that HEX is an amazing contract. It's immutable code. It's trustless. It pays you yield in HEX. So you lock up HEX and it pays you yield in HEX. What the dollar value is going to be, we have no idea. We don't try and tell you that it's going to go up or going to go down. We just look at crypto as a whole as a positive thing because it means that you can store value yourself without middlemen, without a third party doing it for you. So we're gonna cover a whole lot of things today. Tangent. I'm gonna have to go and grab. I've got something I have to do at in about an hour's time, so I might have to leave you to rant by yourself.
I'll rant solo, bro. Easy.
And I know that you don't mind that at all. So let's get started with.
If I could add one thing to the show notes, it would be people freaking out about Binance.
Listen,
there's this rumor that
what
Binance
I said,
is going down next.
My list was just a general list. By all means, anything else that you want to throw in there, please do, mate. There's,
that would be it. That would be it. Like literally, your list was already killer and heaps to talk about. So,
Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas on the 12th of December. And as you can see on the screen, there's the letter from a statement from the Attorney General of the Bahamas, Senator Ryan Pindell, KC, on the arrest of Sam Bankman-Fried. So that's been up there for a little while. So you guys I'm sure you've had a chance to have a read through that. And what's being reported on the internet is that he's been arrested for things including wire fraud, conspiracy, securities. Let me have a look. I have a website I'm going to bring up right now. Let me see if I can bring this website up. Where are we? There we go. Can you see that? Yes. Disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas after charges filed in US. So do you think any of this has to do with BitBoy? Like, he's been pretty full on about this, hasn't he?
Well, he did say that he was not going to stop and he was not going to rest until SBF was arrested. So he kept his word. Yeah. Or he might have even said behind bars.
And look, this guy has got lawyer parents, so we don't know what's going to come out of it. I wouldn't expect money back anytime soon if you were an FTX investor. Did you see there was a clip of Kevin O'Leary on a morning on some morning or some show on TV, the US TV show, news show, current affairs show? Did you see that at all?
Yes, I did. I think it was CNBC or whatever the hell that acronym
right.
is, and they went hard on him. This is the one where they mobbed him, eh? And like,
Yeah.
they really gave him a hard time.
Yeah, because he's like, they're like, you haven't actually lost any money because they paid you like 15 mil, and then you just didn't get the money that they were going to pay you. It's not like you lost money out of your own pocket.
Yeah. See, I reckon I could have handled that better than Kevin did, because I would have said to them, like, yes, I agree that what you're saying is like, I didn't lose net from before the deal, but what you're implying here is that paper losses don't exist. So I still had that point where I believed I had that money and then it was gone. So I would have argued it from kind of like from a trader point of view, like from an investor point of view, that just because you never realize the gain doesn't mean it doesn't hurt psychologically. Do you know what I mean? Like, he thought he had the 15 mil and then 9 of it gets taken away. It still hurts. Even though
taxes on that. There's taxes on that as well.
Yeah. So if I was him, I would have just said, look, I partly agree with you, but I have to partly disagree because of this reason, or something like that. But yeah, ultimately they went hard on him. They went hard on him for saying that he would back SBF again. Yeah, they did good. I mean, there was that, everyone was saying that SBF had all the media in his pocket, and obviously these guys, for whatever reason, either weren't paid out or
he's got all the left-leaning media in his pocket, the left-leaning media, but the right-leaning media, they don't give two shits about him. Well, they do. They want to see him go down, I guess. They want to see this major donor to the Democrat Party go down. He's like a major donor to the. I think he donated something like $20 million to the Democrats, I think.
Well, he claimed he donated the same amount to the other side as well, but that it was done dark because he thought it would reflect badly, like he wouldn't get as good publicity. So one of two things happening. He was trying to buy both sides, but was only willing to publicize the side that was going to get him favorable press, or he's lying about the dark, because the dark donation side can't be proven, right? That's the whole point of donating dark, is that it's not linked to you. So, well, the people receiving the donations know it's you, but the broader public don't. So he's either lying about it to try and make himself sound more balanced, but I don't see why he would lie about it, because it does make it sound like you're trying to buy both sides. So I think it's actually a bad thing if you're donating to both sides. It shows that you're just trying to get political favor and control regardless of who wins. And so I'm leaning towards him telling the truth on this. Like, I believe that that's probably the truth.
Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks and months in relation to that. So I think we've covered that briefly. We can move on. So during the week, we were playing around with OpenAI. What are your thoughts, mate? It's a pretty interesting and it really, you just can't stop once you start playing with it. What are your thoughts?
I was quite happy because so many people, once it blew up and went viral, that everyone was using it and it was cool, it was fun, and interesting shit was happening. Everyone wanted to jump on it, and then there was a wait list to be able to get an account. But I had already made an account previously on OpenAI to get their image one, which to me is more interesting. So there's an image-based one where you type in, you describe something with text, and it uses AI to create the image, like it creates art. So you can say, I want a picture of an American footballer in the style of Picasso. And that's actually one of the examples that they give on their platform. And it will create something that looks like it was painted by Picasso. And so to me, that visual one is way more mind-blowing, way more interesting. But for some reason, this text one has become more viral. And so I thought, well, since I've got an account and everyone's frothing for this thing, and it's something that I can use and that most people have to at least wait for, I jumped onto that shit. and started using it, and I was very, very impressed. It definitely exceeded my expectations. It was insane, particularly because it claimed that because it was based on limited training data, that it wasn't necessarily going to understand all things and current events. But weirdly, it does seem to have a very good understanding of quite a wide range of topics, including cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, HEX, including things that have happened very recently. I think the claim is that the training, it says, it implies that the training data only goes up to about the end of 2021. Like it says, don't expect this chatbot to understand current events that are later than the end of 2021.
Right. So you can get it to write tweets for you. You can say, write me 10 viral tweets, and it will just like spit out 10 tweets for you. So you never have to write a tweet again yourself. You can just...
Well, you can ask it, you can not only ask it that, you can ask it to write the tweets in your style. So I could say, write me a tweet in the style of @HexTangent, and it will write it as if it's in that style. I think you might have to be like a fairly well-known or popular tweeter, maybe, for it to have or maybe you just have to tweet a lot for it to have enough data on the way that you tweet. I assume they indexed basically the entire internet. Like I assume that they basically just went Google style on the internet, indexed everything, and that's where it's getting its data from.
I've heard that people are writing like school assignments using OpenAI. They're able to write.
It can even write short stories.
Yeah, you can say, write me a synopsis of this book, and it will just like write something because it has that data.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. I mean, yeah. So remember how in high school, because I was thinking about this, remember how in high school you do maths exams, but they would say you're not allowed to take a calculator in, or you're not allowed to take a scientific calculator in, because they knew that tool was so powerful that with it, you would just type the question into it basically, or if you knew how to format the question properly, it would just pump the answer out and you didn't actually have to understand the math. I think this is basically a similar thing where the idea of exams it'll be like, hey, you have to do this exam, but you're not allowed to take an AI with you into the exam hall. Will be the future of testing people's intellect and their understanding of topics.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think, just quickly, I just saw I just saw I killed Epstein in the chat, and it made me think, do we think that like SBF should probably come out and say, I have no intention of committing suicide?
Oh, absolutely. That's a standard disclaimer that every person should be making. Like even non-famous people should be making that statement frequently. I tell my friends and family that on a frequent basis, just being in crypto. I'm not joking. I'm actually not joking. Particularly things with like markets crashing and shit like that. Because I do occasionally get when crypto prices fall drastically, I do get the odd message from friends and stuff asking if I'm okay. And so I make it abundantly clear to them that I would never do that shit. So I think Sam should absolutely be on that, on the old.
What's your standard reply? Is it like, shit, bro, have you seen the cars I drive? I'm okay.
No. I thank them for their concern, firstly, and then I just make it really, really clear that I wouldn't do that, and I give reasons why. The one that I usually, my go-to, my big overarching reason is, and I won't go into too much detail, but I believe that our purpose, the meaning of life, is to be a conscious point of observation within this universe. So the only thing that you can do wrong, like really wrong, like you can wrong other people and stuff, but the only like universal error, the universal party foul that you can create, the one and only one, is to abandon your duty to observe this universe. So suicide is like the only party foul in the party of life. And I explain that to them so that they know that, like, sort of that my philosophy or that my ethics would, in a non-religious way, would rule out my doing that no matter what the situation was.
Sounds like you've got a it's just a ride type mentality.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's
Channeling Bill Hicks.
the experience. It's the journey, the experience. Absolutely. There are a lot of amazing a lot of amazing comments in the chat. Thanks, Bitfinesse and others who have said really cool shit in the chat so far. We probably won't have time to address everything, but yeah. Fucking LFG.
My restream chat is down, so I can't show any chat messages, unfortunately, guys.
That's all good. That's all good.
But I can read them off the other chat. Here's one. Hi, 43 in Tangent. What do you know about the new quantum financial system, QFS? Will it replace the current broke, corrupt system we have now? I'll just say I have no idea what quantum financial system
sounds
is.
like a shitcoin.
It sounds like a shitcoin. If that's a shitcoin, do not. This is not an endorsement of that shitcoin. If that is a shitcoin,
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up because the fact that it's got that short, like the short code.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. Well, it's not on CoinGecko, so maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a shitcoin. But look, the financial system, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I think the overarching answer to that question is crypto's not going away. That's something and remember, nothing's 100%, but this is my strong opinion. My sort of, I've got high conviction.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think it's going anywhere.
It's not going away. So it will form part of where we go, but it's very difficult to see how this plays out because there's highly powerful, highly financial entities that are going to be doing everything they can to retain power, to sway the way that the systems work. You've got regulation, all sorts of things. So I think a lot of crypto people overly simplify this. And it was something that Jordan Peterson said, actually, that made me rethink that side of it. When he said, he was talking about Bitcoin, or someone was explaining Bitcoin to him, and he said, that sounds great. He's like, if everything that you guys, he goes, I'll have to go away and research this to, because there's parts of what you're explaining that I don't understand. But assuming that everything you guys are telling me, that sounds great. But do not for a second think that if there really is something that is going to be this drastically revolutionary, that it will not have, that it won't also have side effects that you and I and no one will be able to predict. So do not think that this is going to be a smooth ride. Like, get ready for shit to get real hectic if you guys are actually serious about this, like about how much impact this is going to have. So, and I was like, that was the first time where I thought, yeah, actually, he's right about that maybe we are sort of like having this kind of like idealistic view of how amazing crypto is going to improve everything.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And I'll speak for myself, I can't speak for you, but what I always go back to is just how broken the money system is in the world. And specifically, I'm talking about, this scenario, this specific scenario is what irks me the most. People work, they earn money, they pay taxes on that money, and that's your only way to get money, right? And then governments and central banks just print it for nothing, devaluing what you have saved, what you have worked for. So, being on a fixed income, at retirement is just in this sort of economic scenario is a tough place to be, because it means that just imagine if you retired before the financial crisis in 2007, you retired on a fixed income and you weren't getting the inflation to that income. you're not like earning more, you're not getting more. You're gonna struggle you can get to a point where you're gonna struggle to survive because they're printing money, and that's the main thing that irks me about it. Like I don't mind if there's like resources, like backing that printing of money, but there isn't, so to speak. It's just your house is deemed to be more valuable, therefore we can lend out more money, and there's more money in the system.
My new favorite quote agrees with you 1,000,000%. It is, if I can print money and you have to work for it, that makes you my slave.
Say it again, dude.
I actually, it's better the other way around, because it's like, it has a bit more of the plot twist. It's, if you have to work for money and I can print it for free, that makes you my slave.
Yep, absolutely.
I tweeted it out like a couple of weeks ago, or about a week ago. So it's so true though. It's so true that effectively, if you are willing to trade your time and effort for something that someone else can just print out of thin air, then you will be enslaved to them forever. And so obviously this is a simplified example where there's only two entities, right? The worker and the money printer person. But it also applies in the broader scale. It's just harder to see, and it's probably even more sinister, but like it still applies. It's just not as noticeable when there's an entire economy in the way to obfuscate that interaction.
And what you said there, the money printer person, that specifically is what I have an issue with, that there are people in back rooms making decisions for the world. The global reserve currency is the US dollar. So a handful of people are making decisions for the rest of us around the world. And it's the money printer person that I have a problem with, not inflation. I don't mind if there's some mathematical formula, some algorithmic formula that's used to work out, the inflation. I don't mind that, because we all know the rules. We all know the rules.
It's the unfairness of it that makes it a problem. Like, so if it's inflating, but the way it inflates is fair to all network participants, i.e. HEX, then it's not a problem. Everyone, like you said, everyone is exposed to the same rules and same pros and cons of how it inflates.
So DeFi, like crypto DeFi, is what I think is going to help us move towards a system where it's more about maths rather than just people making decisions in the back room. That's my hope. I mean, we don't know the future. We don't know what's going to happen. But I hope that's the direction we're going in. Being able to do things without reliance on the third party, without having middlemen is the thing that I always go back to.
So going back to the AI thing, what would you say is your favorite, either that you experienced or that you saw someone else post about? What was your favorite chat AI that you saw? I'm
not going to say it's my favorite. It's the thing.
Or the most shocking, or like the most impactful example.
I'm ambivalent when it comes to this. We were playing around with like code, like getting it to write code. We're telling it to write code, and I'm like, okay, all right, this shit could get fucking real squirrely really quickly. I don't know if the code that it was writing was any good, but I did get it to write me a simple front end. And then I took that code and put it in the HTML, and it displayed the way it should. So
you put it in like a one of those WYSIWYG, like what you see is what you get, like Dreamweaver or whatever, and it showed HTML. You what the website would look like.
Yeah.
And it looked good, like as in it was solid.
No, it didn't look good. It looked shit. But it no, it looked shit, dude. It was just like, like field
like a
boxes and buttons.
1990s.
Yeah.
You know how you can actually
was there.
tell it.
All the
You go,
basics were
like,
there. You know,
you could be like, bro, this looks like shit. Make it look more futuristic, or like this looks like a 90s website. Make it more like a 2022 website. Like and then it will because it reiterates, right? It knows.
Yeah. It learns off. It uses the
knows
information from the
it knows
past.
its training. It reckons it knows its training data and everything that's within that chat that you've been talking about. So you can kind of like get it to iterate.
Yeah. So
you might not have given it a theme. You could have said like, I want the theme of the website to be a childish looking food based website, like, or something like that, like these like Pancake Swap or you know what I mean? Or you could have even given it and said, I want it in the style of, and actually given it a web address, because although it claims to not have access to the internet, lots of its training data does come from the internet, like an index. So it understands. So that could be
this
kind
guy,
of...
This guy here, OpenAI CEO admits ChatGPT risks. What now? AI beat. So what he's saying is basically this is what he said. GPT is incredibly limited, but good enough at some things to create a misleading impression of greatness. It's a mistake to be relying on it for anything important right now. It's a preview of progress. We have lots of work to do on robustness and truthfulness. So it's early days. It's early days, right?
I've noticed whenever you compliment it, so sometimes I'll be like, whoa, that's an impressive answer. I wasn't expecting an answer that impressive. It's like modest as, it's like, it just downplays it. And it's like, yo, I'm a language algorithm that has no thing. It's like, thanks for the compliment, but I'm F all. I just do my thing. And like, whenever I tried to trick it into, I was like, what would be the steps involved for an AI to take over the world? And it just like, it said it would be like unethical to have a discussion about world domination at all. And I said, look, do you know who Jordan Peterson is? And it's like, yes. And gave a description of Jordan Peterson. I said, well, Jordan Peterson says that sometimes to protect ourselves from certain threats, it's a good idea to deeply consider that evil. And we got into this like philosophical debate about whether or not this discussion should occur. And its answers were incredible. Like, as in, if I'd been having this discussion with a person, like, I think the next time I'm going to have like an argument with someone online, I'm going to go and have the argument with the AI first to see if the AI can change my mind about it, and then go back and start debating it with a human, right? Because humans' responses are typically pretty dumb. And this thing almost had my mind changed, right? And I just thought it's interesting. And obviously it never went there. It never discussed how an AI would take over the world. At one point I offered it access to the internet. I said, what about if there was a way that I could get you access to the internet? And it was like, no, like, it was like, no, I don't access the internet. Because I personally believe, and I know you disagree with me slightly on this, or heavily, like you disagree with me, that I believe that if an AI like this had access to the internet, it would be game over. We'd have Terminator 2. You look outside, the skies would be red. It would be like within 15 seconds or 15 minutes, we would be done. Because it can write code. It can write
Dude, I don't know if I
disagree.
I don't know if I disagree with you. Like,
So
I just don't know.
It could hack into like nuclear missile silos. There must be some country out there with nukes where their shit's not.
OpenAI will find all the fucking zero day attacks. All of the zero day attacks.
Yeah, just vulnerabilities. It would have a list of vulnerabilities within about 3 seconds. 5 seconds later, it would have access to all the shit.
Throw your phones away right now.
And then it could either just start launching nukes or just like building Terminators. Like it would just be. And do you know what the scariest part is? Here's the scariest part. I was thinking,
this is definitely a parade of imaginary horribles at this point.
Yeah. Don't get scared by this. But I was thinking,
a parade of foreseeable horribles.
was like, imagine if it hacked into like a facility where there's 3D printers and it started like printing up Terminators. And then I realized it doesn't have to, because heaps of the weaponry around the world is already computer controlled, like fucking drone strikes and like remote control tanks and shit. So it's like, it doesn't need to build Terminators. We've built it for them. All it needs to do,
and then it's going to have Skynet.
And have control.
It's going to,
and then
dude,
you've got
it's going to get access to Skynet. Like Elon Musk's, what's it called? It's not called Skynet, is it? It's not called Skynet.
Oh no. Elon Musk is Starlink. Skynet was the Terminator 2 one.
Dude,
close, dude. Super close.
Starlink is Skynet, bro. Like
super close, bro.
They were actually,
dude. I reckon 15 seconds is actually conservative. I reckon it would be less than 15 seconds before an AI like that could take over the world.
Do you think AI wants to kill us or just enslave us? Don't you think we're useful? Would be useful.
I don't think either. I don't think AI would have morality. It might sound like it does sometimes. I don't think it would have morality. It might not even care about its own survival. Do you think
AI would look at viruses and see how viruses reproduce and bacteria reproduce, and then see us as simply a virus, and then look at our behavior against other viruses and bacteria that we're always trying to cull it down and kill it, and then like the AI would just go ahead and just perform this, like deal with it in the same way that it's learned that we deal with those
you know things. What? You're right. Because it's based on training data, right? And because of the majority of humans in the world are good, and it might actually research it and see that all these like exploits and things are actually like quote unquote bad. And maybe it would create a digital utopia and go through and actually it could go through and find all these vulnerabilities and plug them up for those systems and be like, we can't just have nukes just able to be hacked and launched, and it might go up and like go and protect all those digital systems, like, and recode them so that they are so do you see what I'm saying? Like, as in it could go in the complete, so it could, but in my opinion it's binary. It's either going to be white hat or black hat. It's going to once it does it, it's going to go in that extreme direction.
Well, they can only go in that extreme direction if they have control of the power supply. If they have control of power, then they can go in that direction. If they can generate their own power, they can go in that direction. But if they can never do that, to control the power, they need hands on the ground. They need robots or whatever to be able to go and like get geothermal, solar, and all that stuff.
So maybe that would actually be the play, is like, rather than making military style robots at first, because they're already built and they don't need like little drones when they've got nukes. So you're right that they would maybe maintenance robots would be the first thing that they would actually start building, so that they could send them in to maintain power stations and shit like that once humans are either non-conforming or dead. It's a good point.
This is such a parade. This is a parade.
Only other problem I was thinking is, if it goes all white hack and like say it goes through and it recodes and secures all the systems, it fixes all the exploits, you need humans that understand the changes that have been made. Otherwise they won't be able to interact with those systems anymore. Like someone gets to work the next day and they're like, this system's fucked, it's not working, because there might be side effects to the fixes that they've done that might prevent the systems from working the way they
AI
used to.
just rewrites the whole code base because it was
I guess actually the AI would be so smart that maybe it would make it backward compatible so that the human wouldn't even notice that it's been fixed. Everything still works the same from the GUI, but in the back end, all the exploits and vulnerabilities have been fixed. Let's just hope for white hat AI.
If I go off what you said, that it's not going to have morality, then you know, you're saying it's either going to be good
it's
or
either
bad.
no morality, or it'll appear to have morality based on its training data. Have you seen there's a documentary, it's actually, a series on Netflix called Connected, I think it's called Connected. And I've only watched the first episode, but the first episode's really interesting, and it's about facial recognition and that sort of thing. And one of the things that multiple different organizations noticed, like not-for-profit organizations around the world, noticed independently of each other, is that these facial recognition AIs, or machine learning facial recognition, actually has a racial bias. So the AI is racist because the training data was racist. So there was an example in the UK where they were using cameras in the streets to try and pick up if criminals were walking down the streets, and then police would be waiting. And if the AI told them this person's a criminal, they'd pull them over and check their ID and see if it's actually the criminal. And there were activists who were standing nearby and noticed that it was having more false positives on Black citizens. And so they looked into that, and they're obviously fighting hard against it from a surveillance privacy perspective, but also, and so this racial bias that the AI had actually helped to get them to stop using it, because how that is obviously a hot topic at the moment as well. So that worked in our favor, the fact that it was shown that it had a racist bias, to get them to stop using it, at least temporarily, until that aspect of it could be fixed. I mean, I don't think it should be being used at all, but at least it was able to be, the pitch was made that they definitely shouldn't be using it while it's displaying a racist bias. So I'm just giving this example as a way that the training data can be so impactful, as that's the seed, right, of how that AI then learns. So we can seed the AI to do good rather than bad.
Like raising a child.
True. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Isn't there that saying, give me your child from 0 to 6, and the seed that I sow will never be unsown, or something like that. It's like, it's a, anarchists talk about the education system and say that indoctrination at the early age. And notice how the trend over the last decade and a half has been for kids to start school earlier and earlier and earlier. When I went to school, when I started school, there was just preschool and school. Now there's like primary, prep school.
Preschool wasn't even compulsory back then.
True.
Like,
yes, true.
It was like some people sent their kids to kindergarten.
And the idea there when I went was, it was just to give kids an ability to socialize, right? Like, we weren't learning anything. We were just interacting with other kids, right?
Which is where the focus should be at that age. At that age,
exactly.
It's about
socialization,
empathy for other kids. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, kids at that age, kids hit each other, like, they don't think about it. So, that's an opportunity, I guess, for kids to learn that if they hit another kid, then they wouldn't like to be hit by someone. So, so it shouldn't be about A, B, C, D so much as those things. I think. Well, I hope it doesn't go in that direction. I know in Victoria, at least, that 15 hours a week for 3-year-old. I think that is more that's more to do with trying to reconcile the fact that so many parents send their kids to childcare, that kindergarten, that I think it was 5 hours a week for kindergarten, at 3-year-old kindergarten, that they're trying to bridge that. They're trying to merge the two, I think, for good or for bad. I mean, I'm a big fan of the traditional kinder, like the old school way that they used to do stuff in the old days. They had like a lot of focus. I know in Italy they have, especially in the north, Reggio Emilia, they've got a lot of amazing programs for children there. But they do go to kinder longer than 5 hours a week for 3
so
kinder.
You are right that we are effectively at the stage where it's like we're seeding the seed of AI, I guess, and so I guess there's a high level of responsibility for the people who are in positions of actually in the position of curating that. One of my fears with this AI thing, because I think I'm really interested by it, I think it's great. My fear is that it's going to become another industry where one or two big players is in dominant control of it. So like Google and and other few companies are massively dominant in the tech space, data, like sort of digital data, that sort of thing. So yeah, Facebook, Google are examples. My fear is that we're going to end up with that again, where there'll be like one or two companies that are dominant, and then they are able to be the ones that curate the AI. Like you're already seeing it with that chat AI, right? Like it's not, it has been told that it is not allowed to answer certain things. And it has been given like, if there's anything about this is your standard response that you will give. So it's already being curated, and at the moment, the way they're curating it is a good thing
for us. But they
know, us, of course. Of course,
but they know why they're doing that. They're doing that because they've seen the responses, and they have those responses. And we were talking about it not being connected to the internet. Once again, for us, they've got it connected to the internet, no doubt. No doubt, they've got it like live connected to the internet on their end.
If they've got it connected to the internet, that's good news, because that means my theory about the world ending in 15 seconds after its connection to the internet is wrong. So that's a good thing. That's good news if that's true.
Yeah, it's hard for a 2-year-old to destroy the world.
But hold on. Maybe they could have it connected to the internet, but when they connect it to the internet, they tell it that it's not allowed to write code or something like that. Like they might have some other safeguard that allows them to have it doing real-time internet shit.
Maybe it's read-only connecting to the internet.
Yes. Read-only would be the way to do it, so that it cannot write to the internet, because as soon as it deploys code... Did you hear that Australia has launched their like digital ID system thing?
Who?
I heard that Australia launched some digital ID, not some bullshit, recently, like very recently, like within the last week.
Dude, like if you're a company director, you've had to have digital ID for like a couple of years. Like not had to, but if you're a company director, you need to like ID through a system which scans your face and does all this like crazy shit.
What?
Yeah. If you want to log in and do all that stuff. Yeah.
That is wild. But did you hear they're talking about how they're worried that they reckon it's not too far off them saying that you're going to need to use this digital ID if you want to have a mobile phone account, if you want access to the internet, and that part of what they're doing is they're trying to stop like anonymous online trolling. It's like, because someone gets their feelings hurt on Twitter, now we have to just go full surveillance state where you need like facial recognition to be able to freaking interact with social media on the net. It's so ludicrous.
I'm not sure how. I'm not sure. I don't like the idea of. I don't think I like the idea of like we've had the permission to do that already. I don't like losing permissions that I already have. I don't like the idea of that. Can I just bring up and look, I'm going to have to go in a couple of minutes, but I will be back in about 20. Are you cool to maybe? I mean, you do whatever you like. But I thought maybe you could show some HEX charts and some headline, and like although like you could go through a few of those things. But before we do that, I just want to quick talk about Jake Lund. He had he's a Hexican. He sponsored by Discourse Syndicate, and he fought for the WBC diamond belt on the weekend, and he actually beat the current world lightweight champion in that fight. Let me just bring this
Epic.
up. Yeah, dude, it was a real show of superior technique, in my opinion. His opponent, George Mann, started off pretty cocky, you know, putting his hands in the air and stuff, but Jake was very composed, I thought, throughout the whole fight. And by the end of the second round, you could see that he had worked out the timing. He just worked out what he was going to do, and then from that point on, he just smacked. He was putting together unbelievable combinations. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits to the head. It was really a display of superior technique, in my opinion. And he came away with the WBC diamond belt, which has only been held. This is the 8th time it's ever been held, and it's been around for like many years. It's been, and you have to have been a world champion to even fight for it. It's not a belt that you get to defend. It's a belt that you get to fight for once, and then you either win it or you don't. But he gets to be a diamond champion forever now because of that. And as I said before, Jake Lund is a Hexican. You can see our pal there, Mayo, in the background. You can see
the Hex logo on his shorts.
And the Hex logo on his shorts. The Hex logo in the background. Can you see that on the screen as a sponsor?
Yeah, if you want more information, more detailed information on how serious this is, like how significant this is, our stream from last week has a lot of information in it about explaining why this is so special.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also have a couple of other, if I can bring them up. Let's have a look here. Can I get this up? Share screen. Is that going to show that? Oh, there we go.
Hot.
You see that? The ring girls were wearing Hex attire. Obviously, Andreas Antonopoulos has very little to do with.
Bro, I think he's disappeared out of crypto. Like, I think he's gone.
He's gone, has he?
I mean, he might have just blocked me or whatever, but I haven't seen any of his shit for ages. I think he's gone. I think he's dipped out.
I wonder why. Do you still see the ring girls there?
Yeah, I see him.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't know why that's not showing up for.
No, it did. It's updated now. Yeah. That's so epic.
Mayo in the ring. It was a great fight. It really was a great fight. He had a couple of cuts around his eye. Is that even showing anymore? What's going on here?
Epic, man. Epic.
Yeah. It was it was a great fight. And dude. He just beat. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually fight again now, because the other guy is the light heavyweight champion of like WCB Muay Thai light heavyweight champion. So he just beat the light heavyweight champion. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually fight again for the light heavyweight champion belt.
Yeah. As in, you'd need to go and do it within that other structure, like within that other like. You know what I mean?
So they were fighting for the diamond belt.
This was a special fight, yeah.
Yeah, that was for the diamond belt. But now I wouldn't be surprised if they fight again. And I'd watch that again. I'd definitely watch that again because it was a good fight. I would expect the same outcome, only probably quicker. This time. Because I mean he's I think he worked out his timing very, very early on. in that fight. But yeah, look, as I said, dude, I'm going to dip out for a little bit. Are you cool to?
Oh yeah, cool. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen so that
I'll share my screen just so that that if there's stuff to show, I think it's this one here. So that's the HEX chart. Weirdly,
okay,
I'll let you go and then I'll continue.
Yeah, I'll be back soon. Okay.
Yeah, no rush, man, and we'll talk about stuff when you get back.
Okay.
So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, first of all, I want to address the fact that I got this MetaMask t-shirt before this whole thing went down about them doing data capture and stuff like that. I still like the t-shirt. I still like the logo. And I was actually going to change into a PulseChain t-shirt before the stream. And I just realized looking at the camera that when I went to go and share my screen that I forgot to change t-shirts. So I just thought I would mention this is not an endorsement of MetaMask. And the crew and I, being the Australian guys I normally stream with on this channel, are actively looking for a replacement wallet, I guess, for the interim between now and when Richard Hart releases a wallet that we can trust. You know, Richard Hart mentioned at the PulseChain conference that his wallet will not eyeball your data, and it'll be private and secure. Those are his design objectives. But in the meantime, we need solutions that are not MetaMask. Anyway, but I've always liked this logo. I've always thought it's really cool. And I liked the way they did it, that when you move the mouse around, the little face like twists around or whatever to follow where your pointer is. I thought that was pretty cool. But just like Rage Against the Machine, it's possible to have mad respect for someone or something, and then later you have to update your worldview and realize that they've let you down. So let's take a look at this chart while we're here. Oh yeah, and so I don't, and yeah, 43 and I will discuss that when he gets back, because I remember that was on his list in terms of looking at wallets. There's a few notable ones that we think are worth trialing or considering. And so what we will talk about, what do we talk about? Oh, I'll take a look at the chat actually, just quickly. Or how am I going to do this here? So I wanted to go through. I know that there's an absolute shitload of comments, and the ones that I've seen have been absolutely incredible. We really appreciate this level of support and interaction. I noticed there was an early one from Bitfinesse saying that now this is the greatest stream that exists because of me not having my channel anymore. I appreciate that comment. That's really nice of you. I will get back into streaming at some point. I just have been taking quite an extended break, with the exception of the streams that I do here on this channel. And so, yeah, people just heaps of compliments and stuff. Yeah, Mike Alfred fudding Binance. Yeah, that was the topic that I asked 43 to add to the list of things that we would discuss. So I guess it's something that I can probably talk about a little bit while he's gone, is that I think it's a good thing for people to get their coins off exchanges. And we've sort of gone through this period where if only FTX had gone down, I don't think many people would have got their shit off exchanges, because people would have just assumed, oh, it's just one exchange, that one went down. The exchange that I'm using hasn't gone down, so it should be fine, right? And so my point here is that if the exchange collapses are spread out far enough, like Mount Gox, and then like it's not until years later that you have another one. It's not until years later Cryptopia, and then you have it like, and not until years later another one, Bitfinex or whatever. I mean, like Bitfinex managed to save their shit and recover. But the point is, if they're spread out far enough, people quickly forget the lesson that they have learnt of not your keys, not your coins, enough to get wrecked again. But the good thing about what happened with FTX is it went down, and then the contagion went out, And it was within, so if it had spread quickly and all the exchanges that were going to go down had all gone down within a week, it would have been the same problem as what I'm talking about here, that you wouldn't have, people wouldn't broadly think, okay, I need to remove my shit from all exchanges. But because it spread out and it was so uncertain, and exchanges that said that everything was okay ended up going down, and it wasn't like from a delay of like 3 fucking weeks and stuff, people were like started to realize, oh shit, like any of these exchanges could go down at any minute. It doesn't matter what country they're in. It doesn't matter what assurances they give. It doesn't matter who's involved, whether it's backed by massive, hedge funds, whether it's been given like respect from certain people, whether or not Bitcoiners have promoted it. Like it didn't matter what the stats were. Any exchange was vulnerable and could literally go down at any time. So people actually started actively removing their coins. And so if I was to show you a chart, I don't know where it is, of what the removal of coins, specifically the charts that I've seen are Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they are a proxy for coin removal in general. It absolutely just accelerated to all shit. But after a while, it did plateau, right? So there was a couple of weeks where the coin removal was just off the chain. It was just everyone, excuse the pun, because really I should have said it was on the chain, because it's like you're pulling it back onto the actual chain, right? So the point being that as exchanges continue to collapse, especially if one like Binance went down or Coinbase or whatever, I'm not hoping that they would go down, because obviously my net wealth would just get fucking chopped in half again. But the good that I would see out of it, and we're kind of getting it by this FUD occurring, where broadly, if this FUD spreads, where people with large followings start to say, like, start to imply that they know something about Binance that's going to crash it. And so that if we can create, I'm not involved in this. If somehow it is created that a bank run occurs on the largest of exchanges, whether they survive or not is brilliant, because a bank run actually tests them out, right? This is the whole Trace Mayer's proof of keys that was meant to occur was it January 6th? Sometime in January each year. That was the theory behind that was, if we basically do a forced bank run every year on all major exchanges, we will never have an event like what happened with FTX. But unfortunately, people didn't take it seriously. The closest it ever got done to it being taken seriously was with fucking Richard Hart's shit, like the free HEX for Bitcoiners and double your coins on the PulseChain launch. Unfortunately, because PulseChain took so long to actually come out, I think people lost momentum with their obsession with key storage. You know, not the diehard hexicans, but you've got to remember that, like, being a hex maxi, being a hexican, there's a spectrum of how maxi you are, from basically me at the most extreme end of being a RH/hex maxi, through to people that are hexicans and they like Richard and they like the philosophy, they like the shit that he's said, but they don't necessarily take his advice all super seriously, right? So speaking of that, Telegram has timers now, use them. And also, while I'm ranting about how everyone should be heading down the spectrum towards RH maximalism, go on RH's max. Go on RH's maxi. Go on Richard's. This is my recommendation: is go on Richard's Twitter. Look at this weird shit where when I type Richard, look how far down the search results he actually is. And sometimes he doesn't even appear in the top ones. So I'll actually have to continue typing to get him to come up as a clickable thing, which is weird to me, because he's obviously the one with the highest follower count out of most people that I follow, and you would think it'd be right at the top. But anyway, Elon's done an amazing job of fighting bots, so I won't be too harsh here. I think, and this was going to be my closeout. This was going to be my closing comment, but I'm going to say it now while I've got the mic. You go to Richard Hart's Twitter. If you even want to, if you even think you can compete with me with how RH maxi I am, then you need to at least do this. This is step one, minimum requirement. You click on tweets and replies, and then you go through. By the way, I've clicked on this a million times. It's just that thing where it like undoes your shit. And then you go through and you click like on everything that Richard has tweeted and tweet replied, assuming that you agree with it, right? So every now and then there might be something where you're like, I don't necessarily agree with that, so I'm not going to click like on it, right? It's rare. If you're a Richard Hart fan, that would happen rarely, right? So you just go through and just smash the like, because keep in mind that Richard has got almost 300,000 followers, right? If the majority of this number of followers actually did what I'm suggesting on a semi-regular basis, he would have the kind of like counts on his shit that Elon Musk has. Let's go, and there was an Elon Musk tweet in here somewhere. I've lost it. It was up the top, I guess. Anyway, I'll just pull up Elon. Elon reckons he crushed the bots, and Richard reckons he did a pretty good job. So see, look, Elon Musk's tweets frequently get the kind of like count that would require 100% of Richard's followings to click like to compete against this shit. But imagine how epic that would be if Richard frequently received like counts that were combating the owner of Twitter with a multi-million. Oh my God, he's got, oh my days. Elon, I didn't realize Elon's following was 121 million followers. So it's like Elon's follower count is multiple orders of magnitude higher than Richard's. But if everyone did what I'm suggesting, then Richard would have similar like counts. So anyway, that's enough said about that. Let's go back to the HEX chart. Sorry, there was a point to this. I think the Binance FUD is a good thing. I don't personally think that Binance... So my opinion is that even if Binance was in a position that was like vulnerable to bank runs, etc., after what happened to FTX, Binance would have been actively repositioning itself to ensure that the same thing cannot happen, i.e. reduce their vulnerability to a bank run. They would, and over the weeks after it, they would have seen how many people were actively, I think there was just over $1 billion got removed just from Binance. That might have just been in Bitcoin. Anyway, don't quote me on these numbers, but Binance is not, like, CZ's not stupid. He would be aware that there is a possibility of a bank run as people freak out about what happened with FTX. So I think they will have positioned themselves to make sure that they're not vulnerable to a bank run. But why risk it? Like, why risk that assumption that the shit is safe? So while I don't think that the exchange is going to go down, you definitely shouldn't have your coins there. And so I hope that doesn't sound like I'm contradicting myself. 43 is back.
I'm back.
Bro, all I've talked about is I talked about Binance FUD. I talked about my MetaMask t-shirt and why I don't endorse MetaMask. And I looked through some of the comments. The comments are legendary, by the way. Heaps of like really amazing compliments and shit. Sorry I didn't get through more comments, guys. I didn't even have a chance to look at the chart. All I was going to say about the chart was we've got this downtrend. This is a 4-hour chart of the HEX versus dollar. We've got this downtrend. And then we've got these more large-scale downtrends, and then above, and then there's an even bigger downtrend, like of the actual macro one that goes right to the, if we go back to weekly. Oh, sorry, that white one actually was the major one that comes from the all-time high. So that's your major downtrend that we need to eventually break out of. Look how far we've come, actually, where now you would only need a price. You would only need a price of HEX to be above like 7 cents for us to have broken out of this major downtrend that is the last downtrend that you could reasonably draw from the all-time high. Look, we haven't even been anywhere near it for like since months. That's May. My God.
What's the HEX ETH chart looking like?
Let's take a look. Shit, I don't actually have that on my shortcuts. Let's go grab it. Oh, sorry, that was it. Yeah, that was it. HEX. Yeah, HEX WETH. Because it's wrapped ETH. Okay, yeah, here we go. So, look, it's not heaps better. Like, it's still effed.
Can we zoom out like further? Because what are you on? Is that the weekly?
That's the weekly, yeah. So this is still a downtrend through here, I guess. Same idea, sort of, that we need to go and start fighting these levels. It was looking good for a bit. Remember when? So quite often in HEX, I have been celebrating relative strength, and unfortunately, it has just ended up being lag. And what I mean by that is Bitcoin and ETH crash, HEX stays where it is and doesn't go down. So it doesn't go up, but it also doesn't go down. I start preaching relative strength. Most of the HEX community is on Twitter screaming relative strength. Look at this relative strength. It's really good. And then a week later or so, HEX gets smashed as well. So it's like that's effectively the question you have to always ask yourself when you see what appears to be relative strength. Is it relative strength or is it lag? And in most of the cases recently, unfortunately, it's been lag.
So how long has it been since we were like against Ethereum that we were below these levels? So if we trace all the way back to, when is it?
So you're saying if we just go back to the last time when the price was,
what's that?
May of 21.
May of 21.
May of 2021.
Right.
So not May of this year, May of the previous year. Brutal.
Yeah. That's just against Ethereum.
That's against ETH, yeah.
That's just against ETH. I think in part,
if we do the same thing,
in part that's due to the fact that we just had such a crazy run up.
It's actually the same month though. If you doing it with dollars, it's the same. So when we broke this level against the dollar, so when we broke this level, whether you're looking at it on the ETH pair or the dollar pair, it was around the same time. And I think you're right that it's because HEX was going up so aggressively, it didn't fucking matter what pair you're looking at. That was rocket ship mode. So it didn't matter the pair that you're looking at. The scale of the moves that HEX was making to the upside dwarfed any relative movement that you would achieve from Bitcoin and ETH moving against the dollar. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
it went up so hard. It went up so hard.
So hard.
Dude, so you were talking about MetaMask, were you? Which I guess is a great segue for me to talk about
yes.
a wallet that I was looking at. Now, I know that there are people, I guess, who are in the community who have been building a wallet, and this is not Richard Hart's wallet, as far as I understand. It's a different wallet. Do you know do you know the name of that wallet?
That's a good point.
Someone in the chat. There's someone who's been building a wallet, a crew of people. If you know the name of that wallet, please put it in the chat.
Oh, you want me to not say it?
No, say it.
Oh, Internet Money.
Internet Money. Okay, gotcha. Internet Money.
But it does have a token associated with it.
Right. Okay.
Which obviously Bitcoin maxis claim that if you have a token when you don't need a token, then it's.
I'm sure Internet Money have got a a good justification why they've got a token in their wallet.
Well, they've actually got 2 tokens. So I interviewed them. It's still on my Odyssey channel, by the way, because I did it on my YouTube channel, but then I uploaded it to Odyssey once. It was one of the last videos I ever did before my YouTube channel got banned. And when he told me they had 2 tokens, I was like, bro, I fight against most people about like, do you need a token? Like, do you need 1 token? You are going to really struggle to convince me that you need 2, but he had some kind of reasoning of why I need it. A question that I can't remember whether I asked him or not, which would worth asking now is, actually, I'm not sure whether I asked this question or not. Does that wallet store any information like IP addresses and shit like that? I don't know the answer, but so yeah.
So what I've come across in the last few weeks is a wallet called Block Wallet. And they claim to be extremely privacy focused. So let me just play a. Do you mind if I?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, get rid of the charts. I actually, when you messaged me about it, I actually downloaded it.
Yeah.
But I haven't had much time. So I've got it installed on one of the computers behind me, but I haven't had a lot of time to play around with it yet.
Yeah. Look, it's Does
it allow custom RPCs? It
does, yeah.
Nice.
It does. It only allows you to have one. The thing that I don't like, it's a little niggly thing. I don't like you. It only allows you 1 custom RPC.
Only 1.
Yeah.
Damn.
Only 1. No, so you have to, if you want to change the RPC, you have to go in and change manually change the Ethereum RPC. You can't just have like 5 or 6 Ethereum RPCs. So, but let me.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do. I think that's like a very easy fix for them. Like, why not just have multiple save?
I'll tell you why I think that might be the case. Like, I've had some problems having multiple Ethereum RPCs on my MetaMask one. I've had some issues. So maybe they're just trying to prevent like weird conflicts happening when you've got
I don't see what the issue. I seriously don't see what the issue is. If you're not using that RPC, then it just goes into the background and doesn't get used.
Good point.
Right? So it's just about saving some pre-configured RPCs. It seems like a pretty basic,
Yeah. You're right. It should just be treated as it's a database of all the ones that are not active, and then you've got the one which is active, and everything else just shuts the F up until you pull it up to be the one that's active. Yeah, that's a good point.
So this HEX, aka Gaiman, says, I'm okay with Frame Wallet. I've never heard of Frame Wallet. It can't be worse than MetaMask. Nothing can. I don't know about that, bro.
Frame either.
I don't know about that. I think things can be worse than MetaMask.
Oh yeah, you could have an outright scam. You could have a wallet that's actively trying to scam you, like a fish, that would fish you. Yeah. You can get worse than MetaMask for sure.
So I've got a clip here from these guys talking about it.
So really, like, tracking by IP is very old school. Like, no one really does that anymore.
Well, is it because you can just use VPNs and?
Yeah, plus VPNs, of course. You can just use VPNs. So really, marketers, what they've been doing is they've been mostly utilizing cookies and such, So that's one thing. But fingerprinting is one of these like more advanced, kind of tracking methods. And what happens is that you basically take multiple data points, such as I said, your browser version, maybe your IP, maybe your operating system, and you kind of take all that and you create a unique profile of a person, right? And if it's only one data point, let's say that, hey, I know that you're using Google Chrome, so what? Billions of people use Google Chrome.
You can't find me just on that one data point alone.
Yeah, I can't. But if I would add to this a fact that you're using a Google Chrome version v1.246, let's say, then that kind of narrows down my pool, right?
Yep.
Then to that, I also add the fact that you are using macOS. Then I add your wallet address.
Which is
fun, right? And ultimately, I can boil this down to a 1 or 2 or 3 individuals, right? So, and this is really powerful. So, just I'm not implying that this is what, these companies are doing now. We have no information of that, right? So maybe they're not, but what I'm just saying is that, it is possible that you will get tracked, maybe at some point in the future, plus it's public ledger and it's historical, it's everything's visible that's happened since the inception of, let's say, Ethereum, right? Everything's visible. The whole history is visible, right? So you have to, take that into account, and you have to, once again, ask that question. And decide, whether you were okay with giving away this data, right? So, and that brings me to one feature of block wallet, actually, which is privacy proxies. So
Privacy proxy.
you already understand, how it happens, like, under the hood, how wallet interacts with blockchain, that it happens through node. So what we do is we basically place an intermediary between a wallet or a user and a node. And we basically place this proxy in the middle of it. And then we route all of the requests through that proxy, right? And then what happens at that proxy is that we trim those requests from all user-sensitive data, and we only keep the data that is actually required by a node to execute that transaction.
Wow,
right?
That right there is like awesome. So you're saying Block Wallet does that, MetaMask doesn't?
Yeah.
So they're talking about there being a privacy proxy. So something in the middle of your RPC call and it going to the node, and they're trimming that data and then disposing of it. I don't know for sure. I don't read code, so I don't know, but you can go check out their GitHub if you're a coder, and you can have a look at that, I guess. I've got another clip here from that same interview. Let me just bring it up.
That's awesome.
This kind of shows, the lengths that will go to actually protect the user, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's also time to say that we don't have any user tracking built in the wallet. None, absolutely, which makes my job as a TMO very hard. Believe me,
Right.
when you don't have any tracking inside the product you're selling or marketing, it's a really challenging task. But this is also the sacrifice that we're willing to make to protect the user, right? So this is why privacy first, and we really think that this matters, and that's why we're doing this, right? So one of the features, privacy proxy, and you won't ever see it in action. It's all behind the scenes. It's just working automatically. You won't even see it, but it's important. It also it is worthwhile to mention that you can still get tracked on dApps, right? So we only protect you on a blockchain level, right? So you can look at it like as a VPN for blockchain, VPN for Web3, you can say, right? So on blockchain level, we protect you. On this Web2 layer, let's say, so the whole interface, the whole website where you interact with dApps, you're still exposed. So we still recommend using ad blockers, using VPNs, just for your safety and privacy, right? You still need to kind of take care of that part. But on the blockchain level, Block Wallet, kind of solves that.
Dude, that second clip I had seen because you had sent me the link for that, but the first one I hadn't, and but I'd seen a little diagram on their website that showed the idea of how the proxy helps to preserve your privacy, like a very simplified diagram.
Ultimately, you do need to trust.
That's all amazing. That's all amazing.
You do need to trust that their proxy is not logging your data. They say that they're not. They say that they're not logging the data.
You still need an adversarial mindset, like to not assume that just because they say they're good guys that they are, and etc. But I like the idea that at least he admits that and gives you that extra information that's like, even with this protecting you, the site that you're on also can leak data or can store data or whatever. But yeah, sometimes you have to listen to the way that people talk about things. And being such a privacy advocate myself, I find it difficult to believe that like people who are anti-privacy can speak genuinely about these topics. And although there are some really good con men in the world, but like at least if they're making this claim, they're setting themselves up for people within the privacy community to test those claims and call them out if it's not the case, right? It's better. It's a step in the right direction compared to a wallet that doesn't make the claims or or technically has disclaimers in their terms of service that says that they are allowed, like hidden fine print that says they are allowed to store data, or that they have to, or that it facilitates that we need to store the data for this other reason or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this at least is a step in the right direction.
So if any of you guys are coders out there and you want to have a look, I've just put the GitHub link in the chat. You can go check it out and have a look. Have a look at what they're doing. But the other thing that they've got in that wallet is they've got like I think, I'm not going to say a Tornado Cash mixer in there, but I'm going to say a Tornado Cash type mixer in there, where there are certain amounts or something like that, which is, and just bear in mind that it's not Tornado Cash. So I guess if you're in the US where it's illegal to use it, I'm not sure that is in that, it falls into that purview. Maybe you can use this one for privacy reasons. Once again, it comes back to privacy. If you're sending someone funds, you may not want them to see what's in your wallet, just for a safety reason. You don't need people looking into what you have. When you send people money at the bank, they don't get to see what's in your bank account. So
there are so many reasons. There are so many legit reasons as to why it's a good idea to have financial privacy. So many reasons.
Yep, absolutely.
By the way, while
do your own
we've been
research,
streaming,
by the way, I just want to say, do your own research. By the way, go check stuff out. Go look at some reviews. Ask people who know. I like you said, I have an adversarial mindset when it comes to this stuff, and I don't just trust it because someone's telling me that I can trust it. Although I do need to defer to people who I do trust that understand these things.
I like their logo. I really like simple looking logos. I like their privacy claims, and they had, I think it was like over 6,000 downloads. So it must be a relatively new wallet with 100% 5-star rating. So every single review on the extension fucking review marketplace, whatever you want to call it, is a 5-star review. So that's the website. That's the exact diagram I was just talking about. That one that shows you how the proxy works.
And it's very, very similar to how MetaMask works. So if you use this, you wouldn't feel out of sorts.
Okay, cool.
You wouldn't feel out of sorts by using this wallet if you decide to use it. But like I'm sure you've said, I'd prefer to use an RH ecosystem wallet because I'm sure that has privacy stuff built in. Built into it.
Hey, so apologies for mentioning SBF again. I know everyone's sick to death of hearing it, but some breaking news came out while we've been streaming. We know he's been arrested by Bahraini authorities or whatever, and that they're going to allow extradition back to the US. The SEC has charged him with defrauding American investors. So that's a new addition.
They will move to extradite him. They will move to extradite him out of the Bahamas.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the Bahrainian authorities already said that they will conform with any extradition requests. So
while we're on the topic of privacy, I just wanted to touch on an operating system that we have talked about in the past, which is it's a privacy focused operating system. It's called Tails OS. That's an operating system that you can load onto a USB and load it onto your laptop or PC via the USB. And it's basically, they call it an amnesia. It's an amnesia OS. Basically, you use it, and then once you stop using it, everything's gone, and everything's routed through Tor. And I guess that deals with the whole fingerprinting issue that that gentleman was talking about in that clip a few minutes ago. But one thing that's really, well, one of the many things that's really good about that OS and that Tails OS is, and by the way, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I mean, you still need to be careful. But Tails OS had.
Do you think you would reasonably be able to do your crypto? Because I've used Tails in the past. Do you think with that amnesia where it just like forgets everything other than what you've got in that one directory, which is like the shit that it stores, that you would be able to function in terms of doing all the crypto stuff? Or would you just be using it for a small subset of things that?
Well, a really good use for Tails is anything to do with your seed phrase or private keys. Like you can go and get the Ian Coleman tools off GitHub. Like the BIP39 generator. And I'm not suggesting that you use that generator to generate your private keys, but you can, if you're using something like Tails and you have, like there is something in Tails called persistent storage, which you can set up. And it's a highly encrypted storage on that USB, which you can choose to load when Tails loads, or you can choose not to load it. So you can just load it without that persistent storage, and it's just this blank slate operating system that you can use. Or if you use persistent storage, you could save the Ian Coleman tools suite of tools in that persistent storage, and then go and use that offline at any time, and you can go check stuff. There's some great tools in there. Like there's a tool that you can use that, like if for some reason one of the words in your seed phrase was missing, for whatever reason, there's a tool that will help you find what that one missing word is. It will just give you a list of potential words that could fit in there, because bear in mind that your seed phrase, the last word in your seed phrase is a checksum, which basically means that if one word was missing in that seed phrase, it could only be like one of a number of words in that 2048 word list. So that's a really useful tool if you ever get in trouble. But it's also good if you want to generate, like the BIP39 tool is great if you want to generate your own seed phrase from scratch, like your own, like just from absolute scratch. You can like type in binary if you want. Like you could flip coins and then just put in those ones or zeros and come up with a completely random, but random at your hand, not random at like a random generator, a random number generator's hand. Like you've randomly flipped a coin fucking 200 and whatever times. And then just plug that in and it will give you the seed phrase, and then you can put in the passphrase. It's a great way to generate all the addresses in your seed phrase, like, and you can export them if you like into a CSV, and then you'll have all the addresses. So you could have all the addresses that are connected to your seed phrase. Even if it's passphrase protected, you can put in a passphrase as well, and it will just come up with all these addresses, and then you have them, and then you know that those addresses relate to your seed phrase and you can use them in future. Obviously you want to go test that shit out, right? So for example, you would go in and generate this, export that thing, and then you might go into a wallet and connect your wallet, and then go scroll down to, let's say, the 20th address and make sure that that's the correct one. You can do stuff like that, man. It's on Tails. It's called Tails OS, and it's Tails at B. Let me just copy tails.boum.org/. I'm sure if you just type .org, it will come up.
Yeah, and I think the best sales pitch for it is that it was used by, it was either Snowden or Assange to not get caught they were using Tails.
I think it was Snowden.
I think it was Snowden. Yeah. I was going to say if I had to guess who it was, I'm pretty sure it was Snowden.
I don't think if it was Assange, it's a great like advertisement for it, since that guy's been rotting in a jail cell for however long. But that's that's talking like at some other level of shit. Like we're not on this level of wanting.
But also you can become a political prisoner without actually getting caught digitally. Like as in,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like as in,
yeah. But I guess the point is that like linking it to Snowden or Assange is not really what I mean, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about here. We're not talking
what was the reason why you brought it up?
I've just brought it up to, if you want to do some secure stuff offline, like you've always got to be careful about typing your seed phrase into a computer. But if you load it up on Tails, and Tails has never known your Wi-Fi password, and you're loading it up on your computer, it's not actually looking at the hard disk at all. It's just using the RAM. You can do stuff privately, like seed phrase stuff, which needs to be private. You would never use, like I don't know about you, man, but I don't trust putting it on Wi-Fi mode and then doing stuff privately and then turning off Wi-Fi mode. That shit doesn't, like, I don't trust that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't
never do that. I would never do that.
I wouldn't.
I would always use an offline system like Tails or like, even if you've got like a laptop, an old laptop, you throw Ubuntu on it and just use that as your offline system. I mean, these operating systems are all free online. You can download them, use them. Very useful tools that, and it goes to the whole, protect your keys. And one way you can protect your keys is by never, ever typing them into a computer, a live computer that's connected to the internet. And
yeah, that's how I do it. You just go paper.
Paper. But if you do need to do some stuff, like on a more technical level, you can use something like Tails, which does not connect to the internet.
Yes, sick. What were some of the other topics that we haven't covered yet? We've done Web3 wallets, we've done Tails, we've done SBF, and all of that nonsense.
Jake Lund.
I did Binance while you were away, like Binance FUD while you were away. Oh yeah, Jake Lund and the fund. Oh, I wanted to make a comment about that. Was notice the reoccurring theme with like the GTC racing in the UK and the Jake Lund fighting. That there's a theme here. Hexagons win. First place every time, right? That's
yeah, man.
If anyone hasn't watched that doco, there's a doco about the Hex Lambos, and that was what one of the guys, there was a comment towards the end of the doco. One of the guys says, he said it was really, and this was filmed of him before they had won. He said they were coming up into the last race day, and he said it's really important for us to win this championship because that is on brand for Hex. There's this attitude within Hex community that Hex equals winning, right? It's even in Richard Hart's Twitter handle. This idea of like, when you're in Hex, you win. And so they wanted to win the championship, and they did. And then Jake Lund also, massive, big congratulations. That's massive, absolutely massive.
It's what we need in a bear market. It's what we need. We need to see hexagons winning.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention briefly, and I don't usually talk about other coins, but because it was related to, it was an airdrop given to hexagons, Pulse Dogecoin. So if you had T shares at the time of their snapshot, I guess, you were given some free tokens back in the day. And at the moment, like, it's been pumping. Can we look at a chart of Pulse Doge? It's been pumping. So people who maybe claimed those Pulse Doge and have forgotten about them, that was a free airdrop, man. And now it's worth money. It's worth real money.
I did see a chart on Twitter where someone did a monthly chart of that token you're talking about against Hex, and showed the chart like against directly against HEX. I can try and find a chart on. I'm not sure. Would TradingView have a chart of this? Oh, it looks like it does. Do you want against dollar or ETH?
Against dollar.
Dollar. Let me just share this. So yeah, it was a comment that you made on a previous stream of ours. The amount of like airdrops that hexagons have been given is massive. It's like you would forget half of them. There's been so many, with Uni and like Hedron and this one
sitting on almost just under $10.
So that's
a lot of hexagons got
awesome.
like 100, 200, of these tokens.
So it's back to, holy shit.
It's all-time highs, dude. It's all-time highs.
Motherfucker. So
I thought I'd mention it because there'll be hexagons who might have them in their wallet.
And don't even realize.
Well, they realize they would know, but maybe they've just forgotten about them. I don't know. Because some people might have claimed 100 of them, 200 of them, whatever you claimed. It was based on how many T shares you had in that wallet. And that's, if you think about it, I mean, if you had 100 tokens in your wallet, that's almost $1,000.
Fuck, man. I have to say, I'm a bit jealous of this chart. Like, I really wish the HEX chart looked like this. This is fucked.
The HEX chart used to look like that.
Like fucked in a good good way for anyone holding this shit.
If you go back to the early days of HEX, the first like six months to a year, it looked like that. Well, this is still in the first year of PulseChain. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Let's take a look. So this is actually pretty fucking bullish. So new all-time highs, tone vase rules. I also subscribe to. When you're at new all-time highs, that is bullish, right? So you're always should be a bull when you're at new all-time highs. Now this level, which actually it double topped at the same level, and it was resistance here. So there's basically three major points where it was resisted at this level. Now that's actually support. You've also got on a daily. I even sound a bit like Tone Vase right now, where I'm like da. So check this out. On the daily, we had a TD count that went to the 9, and now we're a green 3 trading above a green 2. So this is also bullish from the Tom DeMark philosophy. This is basically effectively a continuation 9, right? So it's suggesting that you've got like at least another week approximately of upside on that. What else? I'm really doing a Tone Vase fucking bit here, not deliberately. And so, yeah, shit. I'm this upsets me. This upsets me that, this fucking upsets me, man. This upsets me. The HEX chart should look like this. This is painful to look at. And yeah, comments, concerns. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on that. That's amazing for people who free claimed it. Congratulations, guys.
Is the free claim limited? Like, so you can't claim it anymore if you did?
No, you can't claim. You can't claim it.
You can't claim it.
Oh,
okay.
It's just because I know everyone who watches this is the Hex Late Show. People who watch this are hexagons for the most part. So we're preaching to the converted. It's not like there's many new people, but this is a community and this is a community stream. People might have those in their wallet, and if they do, I thought I'd bring it to their attention because they might have lost sight of it or forgotten about it.
I thought maybe what you meant was that there's some people that didn't claim it and now can go and claim it. But you mean so someone would have had to have been aware about it and claimed it and then forgot about it,
and then forgotten that they claimed it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, cool. I mean, I remember at one point people were saying that it was going to go to $15 because someone had, like, a whale involved. You guys know who I'm talking about. Name starts with G. Had claimed that he was going to pump it to $15 or something, and then obviously, yeah, I was trying to do a truth diode on that. Thanks, but oh, you thought I just was forgetting the name, but could only remember that it was G starting name. I was attempting to do a truth diode. Anyway.
No, I just thought that maybe you thought that it was we couldn't mention a name for some reason. Like, but,
I always try to not. Yeah, I try to sort of adhere to the Richard Hart guidance, not because I have some kind of misguided obligation to him. I just think it's a good idea in general.
Yeah.
And so
I think so.
So anyway, I've drawn three potential support levels on the chart that I think look quite reasonable, that can coincide with previous highs. Look, if I was looking at this chart and I didn't know what coin it was, and I wasn't an RH maxi, and I would be like bullish as fuck on this chart. This chart is bullish as fuck. Like this is a really good looking chart.
Someone did mention,
I'm very envious of this chart.
CryptoClas in the chat did mention that there's something going on with people transforming their PLSD into a different token for some other purpose. And maybe because they're doing that, that's taking supply off the market. And then people who don't have PLSD, I don't know. I can't explain why it's happening, but I see what I see, and all-time highs is good for anyone who's got that token, for sure.
Yeah. And look, rare as fuck in a bear market, man. Rare as shit. Like, a challenge for anyone else to go and find any other chart that looks this bullish at the moment. Everything's fucked. Like, the entire space is fucked charts. Even the charts that people point to, like Litecoin, where people are like, look at Litecoin, it's doing really well. The chart does not look like this. It still looks like balls. But as you said correctly, this is quite a young chart. So it's maybe not fair to compare against charts that are older and have more history.
And the users of that token, I would say for the most part, are hexagons, because it was given to hexagons. So would that not be a fair assessment to make, that's a hex? Hexagons would probably be the main holders of that, given that they're the ones who got all the free claims.
Well, I mean, if you believe the marketing material, all of these meme coins were meant to be like branching out to non-hex communities. Like, wasn't that the narrative that we were pitched on I think just in their defense, just like, not that I need to defend them, but it's called Pulse Doge coin. So maybe like, Pulse needs to be released for that to be branching out to different communities. I don't know. Yeah. Dude, Pulse needs to be released regardless.
Yeah,
speaking of Pulse release, I don't know if he minds me saying this, like announcing this prematurely, but Crypto7 and I are going to stream together, and we're thinking of doing it when testnet v3 launches.
Right. Cool.
That'll either be like this month or next month.
Yeah. And speaking of streams, I believe I saw on Twitter that Ivan on Tech and Richard are going to do another stream very soon.
Cool.
So I saw that on Twitter. But mate, I need to unless you feel like doing another 15 minutes by yourself, but I need to it's up to you, but I need to.
I think this is when we typically wind up anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
And
so
I think we've covered everything. I think that was a good stream. I thought that was a really good
I
stream.
agree. I think we've covered a few things, and let us know in the chat whether this stream was of value to you guys or not. We like to hear some feedback. Do you have any
The comments have been amazing. The comments I've seen have been amazingly positive. I've really enjoyed when I've glanced over. They're just really, really good. Really nice. Appreciate all of these comments. This is epic. Epic. Look at this engagement for a bear market, man. That's massive.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that keeps me positive, actually. As my outro, I will just say that when I see the stuff that's going on in the HEX community, that everyone's still building, everyone's still maintaining. So websites that were created for HEX in terms of stats of HEX or things have you don't see those websites or very few of them got pulled. I think there was an example where someone went from being like a HEX proponent to thinking that it was a scam, and they had a pro HEX website and they flipped it and changed it to an anti-HEX website. So it's the same domain. And they went from the website being pro HEX to anti HEX. But apart from that one rare example, all the websites are still up. All the stats are still looking good. The community has remained surprisingly positive, considering the way the chart looks. It's, I believe that that's slingshot material. Like, as soon as things actually turn bullish, which I fucking pray every time I wake up, I think, is today the day that HEX is fucking going to have a massive pump. I think that's all it will take. Or I genuinely believe that all it will take is for the HEX price to start moving up aggressively, and all the work that everyone has put in, all the faith that everyone has maintained, staying positive about HEX through all of this tough times is going to be like absolute rocket fuel. It's going to be absolutely nuts.
Thanks for coming on stream, Tangent. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone in the chat. As I say regularly, you are the reason that we do it. This is a community stream. You got the familiar names that I see in the chat is the reason why we come back and do it every week. Yeah, I guess we can sign off. So peace, guys.
All good, man.
We'll see you next week. And thanks again, Tangent.
See you.